Now, hello everybody, my name is Christian. Let's talk about Tropical Storm Melissa. This is currently a system out in the Caribbean Sea with winds of 50 miles an hour with a west to northwest movement at a whopping 2 miles an hour, so really not moving that fast whatsoever. This yellow blob right here is currently where it's at, and this is expected to continue to the north and the northwest throughout the rest of the week. As we go towards Friday and Saturday, though, that is where we're going to start seeing strengthening with this storm, and then towards Sunday, major hurricane status expected from the National Hurricane Center in that cone of uncertainty. Tropical storm watches do exist for parts of Jamaica, hurricane warnings for portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Definitely something to be keeping an eye out on for flooding in tropical storm conditions. But let's kind of dig into what we're expecting with this development into hurricane status. Now, if we are looking at a current deep layer shear map, Melissa sits about right in this general area, and we are seeing some of that deep layer shear. Actually, you can see Melissa on here. I didn't notice that in the beginning. But some of that deep layer shear is here, which is making an environment somewhat unfavorable. And as this continues off to the northwest, that is where we're continuing to see that tropical storm status, that slow, gradual increasing in intensity, and all that could very well be because of the wind shear that's in place. But over the next few days, that is expected to kind of taper off, a more primed environment to form, along with the practically untouched waters of the Caribbean in this area. That is definitely two things right there that can already make a storm begin rapid intensification process. Now, if we do look at model intensity guidance, and basically what this is the spaghetti models all kind of form together onto a plot for intensity of what Melissa could do. Right now, tropical storm status winds of about 45 to 50 miles an hour, and really models are all over the place in both direction and intensity. This is very, very hard forecast. Some models you got tropical storm status, other ones you got into the category 5. Very large spread here, but a decent amount of these models are in agreement that this is expected to intensify into hurricane status, category 2, potentially even into category 3. And that right there is kind of where we're starting to get agreement that this could intensify, especially as those warm water and that wind shear kind of tapers out. So definitely something to be keeping an eye on with the intensity part. With the direction the storm is expected to travel, we can see right here is where Tropical Storm Melissa is expected to be at this moment. And models, once again, are kind of jumbled together with this one. This one is not as far of a disagreement as I've seen, but definitely still in a disagreement nonetheless. We can see these continue off to the north and the northwest. That hurricane status is expected as this continues off to the west, before eventually, at some point, a curve off to the northeast continues to look possible with this. And if that were to happen, this would affect parts of Cuba, Havana, Jamaica, maybe even the Dominican Republic and Haiti, with that hurricane conditions, as well as the flooding potential where we're going to see those heavy rains. Now, some of these aren't curving off at all. We do have a select few models that are continuing off to the west that would leave it into a more primed environment for intensification. Really, really weird forecast here, but that's why the National Hurricane Center is issuing that big cone. Swap back over to the track. Here's that big cone right here. The National Hurricane Center trying to narrow down the confidence on this, but this is just such a weird forecast that they can't do it. So they've issued this fairly large cone of uncertainty where that major hurricane status is. This could go off to the west and continue to intensify. This could get pulled off to the northeast and impact land. It's really just an interesting thing to see how this continues to develop on models. Now, due to the fact that Melissa has formed, we do have hurricane models, and right here is the HWRF model, a fairly good one to forecast with. And as we can see, we rewind it all the way back. We have tropical storm status. This is expected to continue to strengthen into hurricane and major hurricane status. The low pressure at a 955 millibar, which will put it around a Cat 3. Maybe even a Cat 4, depending, but definitely fairly intense. This does continue to strengthen into 948 millibars. And this model actually does predict a shift off to the northeast, impacting portions of Havana and Cuba. That would bring heavy rains, just definitely those strong wind gusts. This is just a forecast model, so not really going to be direct into play. We still have some time to iron things out, but do want to just highlight this one in particular. Here we have the HAFS-A model. There's two of these. Going to go through the first one first. This one right here is predicting an even stronger Hurricane Melissa, major Hurricane Melissa, at a whopping 906 millibar low. Definitely very intense. That would be Category 5 status, almost unprecedented, potentially rivaling some of the strongest hurricanes we have seen in the Atlantic Basin, especially with this one. We've had Milton last year at 897 millibars. We've had only a select few others that have broken below 900. So definitely interesting to see models outputting this. Here we have the HAFS-B model, once again another hurricane model. This one is actually predicting this to go sub 900. This is 889 millibar low, and if we play this, it drops down at the last run on the 18Z as an 884 millibar low. That is potentially one of the strongest hurricanes we have seen in the Atlantic basin in a very long time. I do want to reiterate, this does not mean this is going to happen, but we will have a very primed environment for strengthening. And these are models that are specifically designed to forecast for hurricanes. So this isn't something that the global model for America or the Euro model is just throwing out as a fantasy run. This is actually predictive for hurricane development and potentially one of the strongest runs I've seen. It's very interesting to see how this is continuing to develop. So besides that, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can subscribe on YouTube and follow me on X. If you're watching on YouTube, X's link is in the description. If you're watching on X, that YouTube link will be in the comments of this post. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is not to scare people. This forecast is just to get people to keep a lookout on this. We're still continuing to get information in on this, and this is a very tricky forecast, especially with the thermodynamics we have in place. So definitely keep an eye on this. Stay weather aware if you're under the watches. Have that plan ready. My name is Christian. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.